Hi friends, after Indus Valley civilization, next chapter is Vedic age. Vedic age, also called Vedic culture. Vedic age, also called Vedic culture. And this age also called age of Aryans. Okay. See, this age starts from 1500 BC to BC means before Christ to 800 or 600 BC. Okay. This is the span of Vedic age. See, the entire Vedic age divided into two parts. Vedic age divided into two parts. First one, early Vedic age, and also called Rigvedic age. Early Vedic or Rigvedic age. See, first 500 years of Vedic age called as early Vedic age. It means it starts from 1500 BC to 1000 BC. See, this age called Rigvedic age because out of 4 Vedas, only one Veda, that is first Veda, Rigveda, composed during this period. Hence, this age is called Rigvedic age. Starts from 1500 BC to 1000 BC. And second phase, that is later Vedic age. Later Vedic age starts from 1000 BC to 800 or 600 BC. Okay, in this way, Vedic age divided into early Vedic and later Vedic age. Okay. Then this age is called age of Aryans. This age called as age of Aryans. Then who were Aryans? See, the word Arya means noble. The word Aryan means noble. It means upper class. The word Aryan means upper class or noble. And the word Aryan, actually it is not a racial term, but we are using it as a racial term. Actually it is not a racial term. See, the word Aryan actually refers to the people who are speaking Indo-European languages. The people who are speaking Indo-European languages were known as Aryans. See, Indo-European languages means North Indian languages. The people who are speaking North Indian languages were called Aryans. Okay. See, entire languages of India divided into 4 types. The languages of India divided into 4 types. Okay. First one, Indo-European languages. All North Indian languages called Indo-European languages. Nearly 75% of Indian population speak this Indo-European language. And the second one, Dravidian language. Dravidian language means South Indian language. Nearly 23% of Indian population speak Dravidian language. And third one, Sino-Tibetan language. Sino-Tibetan language. Okay, and Austric language. Okay. In this way, Indian languages broadly classified into 4 types: Indo-European language, Dravidian language, Sino-Tibetan language, and Austric language. Okay. See, though the people who are speaking Indo-European languages were known as Aryans. Hence, the word Aryan is a language based term. It was not a racial term. Okay. Then, see, according to historians, these Vedic Aryans, Rigvedic Aryans, they came from Central Asia. They came to India from Central Asia. They migrated from Central Asia. This Central Asia, also called Eurasia, also called Steppes, also called Asia Minor, means present it is in Turkey. Actually, according to European scholars, so these Aryans, they migrated from Central Asia in 1500 BC. According to Max Muller and according to historian Winternis, so these Aryans migrated from Central Asia in 1500 BC. According to Max Muller, first they migrated to Iran, later through Iraq and Afghanistan they migrated to India, and they destroyed Indus Valley civilization in 1500 BC, and they settled in northwestern part of India. They destroyed IVC and they settled in western part of India. Rigveda called this northwestern part of India as Sapta Sindhu region. Sapta Sindhu region. Okay, Sindhu and its tributary region called Sapta Sindhu region, and this region also called Brahmavarta, and this region also called Prak Madhyama Desha. Prak Madhyama Desha. Okay. Rigveda called this northwestern part of India as Sapta Sindhu region, also called Brahmavarta, also called Prak Madhyama Desha. In this way, Aryans migrated from Central Asia, or they came from Central Asia according to Max Muller and Winternis. Then what are the evidences for this Aryan migration? Evidences for Aryan migration. See, we have three inscriptions. They provide information about Aryan migration. So these three inscriptions provide information about Aryan migration. Those inscriptions were: one, Bogus Koi inscription. Bogus Koi inscription provide information about Aryan migration. Second one, Kazite inscription. And third one, Mitanni inscription. So these three inscriptions, Bogus Koi inscription, Kazite inscription and Mitanni inscription, provide information about Aryan migration. Okay, we should discuss one by one. First we discuss Bogus Koi inscription. See, this Bogus Koi inscription found at Bogus Koi in Turkey. Actually, this inscription found at Bogus Koi in Turkey. According to this Bogus Koi inscription, for several years Aryans settled in Turkey, also called Asia Minor, and this Bogus Koi inscription mentioned some Indian gods such as Indra, Varuna, Mitra and Nasatya. Nasatya means divine doctors, Ashwini gods. Okay, so this Bogus Koi inscription mentioned some Indian gods such as Indra, Varuna, Mitra and Nasatya. According to this Bogus Koi inscription, Vedic Aryans settled in Turkey for several years. Okay, next, Kazite inscription, second one. See, the Kazite inscription found in Iran. Here, Kazite inscription found in Iran. See, according to this inscription, for several years, Aryan settled in Iran. Aryan settled in Iran. And this Kesite inscription also mentioned some Indian gods such as Indra, Agni, and Varuna. Okay. Next, Mitanni inscription. See, Mitanni inscription, third one, also provides information about Aryan migration. See, according to Mitanni place in Iraq. See, according to this inscription, see, Aryans settled in Iraq for several years. And this inscription, Mitanni inscription, also mentioned some Indian gods such as Indra, Varuna, Mitra, and Nasatya. So in this way, these three inscriptions, Bogus Koi inscription, Kesite inscription, and Mitanni inscription provide information about Aryan migration. But some Indian historians, particularly some nationalist historians, rejected this Aryan migration. Okay. Hence, we have certain theories about Aryan migration. Okay. See, this Aryan migration theory initially developed by European scholars. European scholars developed this Aryan migration theory by studying the similarities between Indian languages and European languages. They developed Aryan migration theory. European scholars such as Sir William Jones, Max Muller, and Winternitz. So these three, Sir William Jones, Max Muller, and Winternitz, they developed Aryan migration theory by studying the similarities between Indian language and European language. So we discuss one by one. See, in 16th century AD, one European scholar who settled in Goa, it was Filippo Sassetti. Filippo Sassetti, he was the first European scholar, Filippo Sassetti, who identified the similarities between Indian languages and European languages. He was the first person, Filippo Sassetti, actually lived in Goa. He was a Portuguese. He identified the similarity between Indian language and European languages. Okay. So after Filippo Sassetti, next Sir William Jones was another person who also identified the similarities between Indian language and European language. See, Sir William Jones, he identified the similarities between North Indian language and European language. Okay, he identified the similarities between Indian language such as Sanskrit and European language such as Greek, Latin, Hebrew, and Gothic, and even Persian also. See, he identified the similarities between these languages, Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, Hebrew, and Persian. By studying the similarities between Indian language and European language, they developed Aryan migration theory. Because of that reason, see, this Sir William Jones was called as father of historical linguistics. Father of historical linguistics. Actually, Sir William Jones, he came to India in 1783. He came to Calcutta as a judge of Supreme Court, and in 1784 he started one organization at Calcutta called Asiatic Society of Bengal. See, he established this Asiatic Society of Bengal to study ancient Indian history and Indian culture. Okay, and this Sir William Jones, also a scholar, he translated many Indian books into English. For example, Sir William Jones, he translated Kalidasa's Abhignana Shakuntala into English. And he also translated Jayadeva's Gita Govinda into English. Jayadeva, he wrote Gita Govinda in Bengali. Okay, he translated that Bengali work into English by Sir William Jones. And Sir William Jones, he translated Manava Dharma Shastra into English. Manava Dharma Shastra, also known as Manusmriti, into English. And this Sir William Jones also translated one Persian book called Al Sirajia into English. See, this Al Sirajia, written in medieval period, written by Sirajia. So, book related to Mohammedan law of inheritance. Okay, he translated that book Al Sirajia into English. So, this Sir William Jones, he identified the similarities between Indian language such as Sanskrit and European language, Greek, Latin, Hebrew, and Gothic and Persian. See, by studying the similarities between Indian language and European language, he developed Aryan migration theory. See, according to this Aryan migration theory, the ancestors of India and the ancestors of Europe, the ancestors of India and the ancestors of Europe, so they lived at one place. They might have lived at one place at one time. According to this theory, they called that place as, that is Central Asia. They might have lived at Central Asia at one time. They called that place as Indo-European homeland. And they might have, that is Indo-European language. Okay. From this Central Asia, after some time, some migrated to Europe, some migrated to Persia, some migrated to India, and some migrated to Russia. So, because of this reason, see, there is a similarity between Indian language and European language. See, in this way, by studying the similarities between Indian language and European language, they developed Aryan migration theory. See, according to Sir William Jones, these Aryans migrated to India from Europe and they destroyed Indus Valley civilization that is settled in northwestern part of India. And according to Max Muller, very, very important. See, Max Muller, see, actually he was a German Indologist. Indologist means the person who studies the similarities between two languages. So actually he was a German Indologist, but he settled in England. Okay, this Max Muller, he translated 4 Vedas into English. But he never visited India. He developed or he coined Aryan migration theory from England itself. Okay, he translated 4 Vedas into English. He named that book as Sacred Book of East. Sacred Book of East. See, according to Max Muller, he was also called in Sanskrit, he was called Moksha Mulla. See, according to this Max Muller, see, Aryans in 1500 BC, they came to Iran. From Iraq and Afghanistan, they came to India and they destroyed Indus Valley civilization and they settled in northwestern part of India. And according to Max Muller, it was Vedic god, Rigvedic god Indra responsible for the decline of IVC. Okay. But some historians rejected this. Then according to Balagangadhar Nath Tilak, see, according to Balagangadhar Nath Tilak, Aryans migrated from Arctic region. He says Arctic is the home of Vedas in his book Gita Rahasya. See, when he was in Mandalay jail, he wrote Gita Rahasya in Marathi. In that book, he says Arctic is the home of Vedas. It means Aryans migrated to India from Arctic region. Okay, and according to Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and Fergiter, according to Swami Dayananda Saraswati and Fergiter, these Aryans migrated to India from Tibet. But according to Swami Vivekananda and A.C. Das, see, these two, Swami Vivekananda and A.C. Das, they rejected Aryan migration theory, and they say, see, Aryan originally belonged to Sapta Sindhu region. In this way, they denied Aryan migration theory, Sapta Sindhu region. In this way, we have several theories on Aryan migration. Okay, but some accepted, some historians rejected this. Hence, a matter of Aryan migration is still a matter of debate. But after Indus Valley civilization, Vedic Aryans settled in northwestern part of India. Rigveda called this northwestern part of India as Sapta Sindhu region, also called Brahmavarta, also called Prag Madhyama Desha. Sapta Sindhu region means Sindhu and its tributary region, land of 7 rivers. Those 7 rivers were 1. Vitsata, Askini, Purusni, Bipasha, Sutudri, Sindhu and Saraswati. So they settled on the bank of these rivers. This region is called Sapta Sindhu region. So this is the ancient name of rivers. Modern name, come to modern name, Vitsata means Jhelum, present Jhelum called Vitsata. Askini means present Chenab, present Chenab river called Askini. Purusni means present Ravi, also called Rabi. Bipasha means present Bias, and Sutudri means present Sutlej, and Sindhu present Indus. Saraswati means present Gaggar, also called Akru, also called Drishadvati, also called Rakshi. Saraswati called in different names. Okay, so they settled on the bank of these rivers. This region also called Sapta Sindhu region. See, these Vedic Aryans, they settled in Sapta Sindhu region in a group or band. They settled in Sapta Sindhu region in a group or band. In English, that band or group called a tribe or clan. In English, it was called a tribe or clan. Okay, they settled in a group or band. See, according to German scholar Winternis, he also says Aryan migration theory. According to German scholar Winternis, see, he says double invasion theory. According to Winternis, Aryan migration took several years, and Aryans came to India in a group or in a band, and they settled in northwestern part of India in a group or band. That group called tribe, also called clan, but Rigveda called this group, this tribe as Jana. So the word Jana very popular in Rigvedic period. The word Jana means tribe or clan. Okay. Come to some important Rigvedic tribes. See, important tribes of Rigveda, that is called Janas of Rigveda, were Bharata tribe. See, Bharata tribe, this was very important tribe of Rigvedic period. See, because of this Bharata tribe, this country got the name Bharata, also called Bharatavarsha. And Tugvasa, Puru, Anu, Yadu and Druhu. So these were very important tribes of Rigvedic period. See, except Bharata, other tribes were called. It means Tugvasa, Puru, Anu, Yadu, Druhu. These tribes were called Panchajana. Okay. In this way, Rigvedic people, they settled in northwestern part of India in a group or in a band. That group called a tribe in Rigvedic period. That is also called that is Jana in Rigvedic period. Okay. Rigvedic polity. See, about Rigvedic polity, Rigveda provides information. See, Rigveda was the only text composed during this period, and this Rigveda has 1028 slokas. This 1028 slokas divided into 10 mandalas. It means 10 chapters. These chapters again subdivided into sub-chapters called Suktas. See, this Rigveda provides information about Rigvedic polity. See, according to Rigveda, see, the concept of Rajya was completely absent in Rigvedic period. Rajya, that is kingdom, was completely absent in Rigvedic period. And according to Rigveda, in Rigvedic period, Rigvedic political setup was like this. It is, see, Grama was the lowest political unit in Rigvedic period. See, Grama means group of villages called Grama, and head of this Grama called Gramini. Gramini was the head of this Grama, and above Grama we have Vish, another political unit. Vish means group of villages. Head of this Vish called Vishpati. Head of Grama called Gramini, and head of Vish called Vishpati. And above Vish we have Jana, that is a tribe, that is called Jana. King was the head of the Jana. He was called Rajan. He was also called Gopala, and he was also called Gopajanasya. Gopajanasya, also called Gopati Janasya. He was called Gopala because his duty was to protect, main duty was to protect the cattle of the tribe, hence he was called Gopala. So in Rigvedic period, cattle was considered as chief measure of wealth, and owner of the cattle called as Gomat, and that Gomat was considered as wealthy person in the society. Okay, and in Rigvedic people, Rigvedic period, cow considered as sacred animal. Okay, and in Rigvedic period, people pray God to increase cattle in their houses. Actually, that was their first prayer, and their next prayer was to, give. They ask God to give brave sons, and third prayer they ask God to give daughters. Okay, first they ask cows, and the king's first duty was to protect the cattle of the tribe, then she was called Gopala. And in Rigvedic period, king was called Gopajanasya, also called Gopati Janasya. Gopajanasya means in Rigvedic period, king fought for cows, not for territory. Hence he was called Gopajanasya, also called Gopati Janasya. Okay, in come to duties of the king. Duties of king in Rigvedic period. Okay. See, in Rigvedic period, Rigveda provides information about the duties of king in Rigvedic period. According to Rigveda, king's duty was to protect the cattle of the tribe. Okay, he should protect the cattle of the tribe, and his duty was to protect the people of the tribe, and his duty was to maintenance land order, and his duty was to organize wars. But in the Rigvedic period, king fought for cows, not for territory. Hence he was called Gopajanasya, also called Gopati Janasya. And his duty was to pray God for him and for people. Okay, so these were the duties of Rigvedic, duties of king in Rigvedic period. And come to powers of king. Powers of king. See, in Rigvedic period, the concept of divinity was completely absent in Rigvedic period. Very, very important. The concept of divinity was completely absent in Rigvedic period. Okay, but in Rigvedic period, one king called Purukatsa, one Rigvedic king called Purukatsa, he had one title called Ardhadeva. It means semi-divine. He was the only king in Rigvedic period who had this type of title Ardhadeva. It means semi-divine. Okay, but in Rigvedic period, the concept of divinity was completely absent. Okay, and in Rigvedic period, kingship was hereditary. Even though kingship was hereditary, in Rigvedic period, king was elected by an organization called Samiti. He was appointed by a political organization called Samiti. See, in Rigvedic period, we have three political organizations. We have three political organizations such as Sabha, Samiti and Vidata. See, these three political organizations, Sabha, Samiti and Vidata, they control the king, or they regulate, this organization regulate the king. Okay friends, today I will conclude the class. In next class, I will discuss three political organizations of Rigvedic period. Such as Sabha, Samiti and Vidata. I will discuss what is Sabha, what is Samiti and what is Vidata and their functions. Okay, and how they regulate the king in Rigvedic period. That I will take in next class. Okay, thank you. Keep watching.